Welcome to Better Daily Life, where we are moving forward 1% better every single day. Download the app and supercharge your journey at betterdaily.life. Now it's time to ditch facts and get facts with your host and my dad, Alex Van Houten.
What is up, Betterment family? This is Alex Van Houten in Better Daily Live. Happy Tuesday. It is Nutrition Tip Tuesday, and on Nutrition Tip Tuesday, we go through something from a nutrition perspective to help you on your 1% better journey. And today, we're talking about vitamin D. It's that time of year again, and it's really important that we get this right. So, before we get there, happy 4th day of the Faithful 40 Challenge. It has been a powerful start to the challenge so far. I don't know that I've seen so much activity in this group: logging, cardiovascular exercise, weight training, mindset shifts, nutrition advice, and the like. It is such a cool start to the challenge. So keep up the good work. Your teams are rocking it, and I'm proud of you. Also, we just put out our first group order for our t-shirts in Better Daily Live. And I should stop saying t-shirts because we also have hoodies too. So we've got the BU, just better, or just 1% better every day shirt, and it's cool. I really like it. It's good material, good quality, fits well, and above all, it embodies the spirit of what we're doing here, which is growing every single day and inviting everybody else into that thing. You know, the world's doing crazy things right now, and not a lot of those things do you have a say in, but you do have a say every day in how you grow. And it doesn't mean it's easy, but it does mean that perhaps if we could improve ourselves regularly and spread that around, and everybody worked on that front, I wonder what would happen to the big giant things that we don't have control over. Maybe they would shift. Just maybe. So, vitamin D. This is the time of year where the UV index, that is the ultraviolet index, the amount of ultraviolet light in this hemisphere of the world, decreases significantly. And so, we need to talk about that because it matters. It really does matter. Our skin is the largest organ in our body. It covers our whole body if everything's working right. Hopefully you don't have a significant chunk of your body not covered in skin, and your skin protects you, and your skin also has a primary role to play in one of the most important hormones in your body. And yes, I said hormone. Vitamin D is a hormone, and our skin is designed to create vitamin D all by itself. It's very, very cool. So when the sun hits our skin, it activates particular cells that are able to synthesize the vitamin D molecule. And that active form of vitamin D in our body can be used to build hormones, can be used to bolster our immune system, can be used to synthesize strong, dense bones that are immune to breaking, or not immune. I guess if you get hit by a train, nobody's immune to breaking, but the denser the bone, the harder it is to break. And so that's a really good system. It's really powerful and good. However, when our UV index is low, then our body doesn't synthesize vitamin D. Actually, when our UV index actually gets below 4, you could be outside, bare butt naked, and you wouldn't make any vitamin D during that time. So vitamin D is synthesized when our UV index is high. That means when there's a lot of UV light hitting us. And during the summer months here in the States, our UV index reaches 10, 11 sometimes. And so in a UV index of 10 or 11, you can be outside with just your arms showing for 10 to 15 minutes, and you'll make all the vitamin D that you need. It's very, very cool. However, when the UV index drops, particularly in the fall, winter, spring. So yesterday, the UV index did not get above 6 here in Greenbrier, Arkansas. And that's because the Earth is tilted on its axis. And as we rotate around the sun, there's a lot less direct sunlight hitting us. And so the amount of ultraviolet light that hits us decreases in this hemisphere of the world. And so what happens is when the UV index gets low enough, then you stop synthesizing vitamin D. Now, your body is created in such a way that it should be able to withstand that, because vitamin D is a fat-soluble hormone, which means that when we build up vitamin D over the summer, we actually store it in our fat cells. Good system, right? The problem is, one, some people aren't getting outside very much with skin exposure. Maybe you have skin cancer that runs in the family, and so you're trying to be careful about skin exposure. Maybe you're very fair-skinned, and it's easy for you to burn, and so you protect your skin from the sun that way. Maybe, you didn't really have a say in it. You have an indoor job, and you're inside a lot of the time. Maybe you're like my wife and a little more modest, so you don't like to show a lot of skin outside, even if it's your own backyard. And so that said, the sun exposure thing, you don't really build up a lot of vitamin D over the summer as you might have otherwise. And so what happens is when the UV index drops, your vitamin D levels drop. Well, that's not good because your immune system hinges on healthy vitamin D levels. And if your vitamin D levels start dropping, guess what happens in the season when all the illnesses are going around? We've got flu, we've got stomach bug, we've got COVID-19, we've got normal colds caused by adenoviruses and rhinoviruses, and we've got all kinds of other things. Right now in our community, we've got strep throat going around, so that's a lot of fun. So what happens during this season is most people, they don't notice that the UV index drops, and so their vitamin D levels start to drop with it, and as vitamin D levels start to drop, with exposure to pathogens comes a weakened immune system. And so everybody starts getting sick. And I'm here to tell you that as the UV index drops, you definitely need to be supplementing with vitamin D. Personally, in our household, we take 5,000 IU a couple times a week. 5,000, 500. I know it sounds like a lot, but vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin. And 5,000 IU of vitamin D is the studied amount that in the British Journal of Medicine doesn't create toxic levels of vitamin D unless you're also getting lots of sun exposure at the same time that you're supplementing it. So this time of year, unless you live in Florida, and we do have a few people around here who live in Georgia and Florida. So if you're hearing the sound of my voice and you're getting plenty of sun exposure, check your app, look at the UV index. You're getting plenty of sun exposure. You probably don't need to supplement with vitamin D. But for the rest of us whose UV index is 6 and lower right now, we need to be getting 5,000 IU of vitamin D every day. And, well, I say every day. I take it every other day or so, partially because I don't remember, partially because I've had a vitamin D test that shows that I'm just above the low moderate level of vitamin D. So some individuals test low deficient, so they need to be taking 5,000 IU daily to get themselves above that low deficiency marker. Some individuals test into that low moderate. That means you're not really at risk for your immune system being affected by vitamin D, but you want to keep it there. So that's where I classify. I'm taking my 5,000 IU of vitamin D every other day. And I have never met anybody whose vitamin D was high. I've heard stories though in training clients I've worked with where they've recommended vitamin D, and then their client went to the local grocery store and they were like, well, more is better, and so they got a 12,000 IU vitamin D supplement and took it every day. So 4 weeks later they were on the high end and needed to stop taking that. So I don't recommend that. 5,000 IU of vitamin D every day if you're in that low category. And if you know that you're in the low moderate and you don't have trouble keeping your vitamin D levels up, you've gotten lots of sun skin exposure over the summer, then you're good taking 5,000 IU every other day. So this whole Nutrition Tip Tuesday, I do this every year around this time. I'm doing it again. I'm telling you, the UV index has dropped. And if you're not currently taking your vitamin D supplement, you need to be taking vitamin D. Leslie asks, D3. Yes, vitamin D2 has been studied not to really have much of an effect on your actual serum vitamin D levels. And so D3 is the active form of the vitamin D supplement, and that's the one you want to pick up. Now, there's some companies that are like, you need to have it with vitamin K, and it needs to have this particular oil in it. It's been my experience, and when you read through the research, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter that much. Like vitamin D3 is a fat-soluble vitamin that if you take it consistently will end up in your bloodstream, and that's what you want. So I don't care. It doesn't have to be the most expensive from the most reputable company. It's really hard to mess up vitamin D3. And as far as the market's concerned, it's a relatively inexpensive supplement. So if you go to Walmart, for instance, and you go in the pharmacy area, you can find 5,000 IU of vitamin D3 for something in the neighborhood of $10 that'll last you a month. So it's not an expensive thing to do for yourself. And I can include, in fact, in our supplement area for our premium members, I have all the supplements that I recommend, which isn't really that, and make it sound like a really long list. I'm a supplement minimalist, which means I prefer to have as few supplements as possible in order to augment our diet and to optimize it for ourselves. I don't think that supplements can be used as a magic bullet to fix everything. But that said, in our premium member area, we have the supplements that I recommend, and then I also include the links to the particular ones that I recommend to my one-on-one clients. So I can include the link to that here below. But very good question, Leslie. Vitamin D3, 5,000 IU at least every other day is what we in this community could safely get away with. Now, there are a few of you who are currently under doctor supervision with regard to your vitamin D supplementation. Maybe you have a vitamin D deficiency and they've given you a pharmaceutical grade, super high IU vitamin D to take like once a week or something like that. That's okay. The research isn't very clear whether or not that's more optimal or if a smaller amount of vitamin D on a regular basis is optimal. Personally, I like the smaller amount on a regular basis because let's say I'm supposed to take 20,000 IU of vitamin D every Monday. I'm going to forget on Monday. That's all there is to it. I do it much better if I have a more consistent schedule personally. So, great question there, Leslie. So this is Coach Alex Van Houten telling you the UV index is dropping in this hemisphere. Please start taking your vitamin D. Illness is going around, and I don't want you to have illness. And I think it's also worth saying that in 2022, there were two very important research articles that came out that showed that COVID-19 exposure is not limited by vitamin D. Like, it's not going to keep you from getting COVID-19, okay? And all its different variants. We've got like 500 variants at this point. I'm just kidding, we don't have 500, but we have quite a few different variants of COVID-19 floating around right now. And it's not going to keep you from getting it. But the research is very clear. The higher your vitamin D levels are, the faster you fight the infection and the less severe it is. So if you're in a community who's wrestling with a different variant of COVID-19 right now, it's almost impossible to tell at this point. But if you're wrestling with that, the higher your vitamin D levels are, the faster you fight the infection and the less severe it is. And so, maybe it won't go turn into pneumonia. Maybe you won't wrestle with it for 6 weeks. Maybe it won't completely ruin your health and fitness regimen and take you out of work. Maybe if you could just keep your vitamin D levels at a decent level over this winter, you can stave off things like COVID-19, the flu, strep, stomach bug, and you just keep your guard up, keep punching them as they come. Good morning, KT. Thanks for joining me this morning. I hope you're taking vitamin D too. That's not D2, D3, but D also. All right. So, vitamin D, please take it. It's the time of year. Don't stop taking it until the UV index comes back and you can get some sun exposure. I hope and pray that in our community, illness is minimized this year. Guys, this has been Alex Van Houten in Better Daily Live for Nutrition Tip Tuesday. Until next time, it's just 1%. You got this.
Thank you for joining us for your 1% better. Be you, just better, in mind, body, and spirit. Go to betterdaily.life, download our app, and check out our 5-star coaching resources. We all have a cross to carry. It's lighter when we do it together. Go to betterdaily.life today.